here's the thing. Most people dry fire trying to figure out problems with their gun or problems with their gear. I think dry fire reveals all the problems with this guy right here. And that's why I do it. And so I think if we're going to talk about improving and we're going to talk about dry fire and we're going to talk about getting better at this whole thing, we've got to deal with the biggest issue, which is my head, my heart, my hands, and my eyes, in that order. And I can coach people on shooting technique and give them shooting tips all day long that they may or may not know what to do with. And so if I don't help them with a mental process that helps them deal with how they're going to process how they're going to do this, how they process when they're going to do this, how to process what kind of story they tell themselves as they do this, then we can do everything quote unquote right as we practice and still never improve because we're not dealing with us along the way. So this may be a very different conversation than you expected, Memphis, because we're going to talk about head, heart, hands, and eyes. And the reason why I say this might be different than you expected is because this is different than just about everybody expects. When they come to one of my classes or click on a YouTube video, they get something different than they expected because I'm not trying to just list a set of instructions. What I'm trying to do is help people. So I'm glad you wanted to have this conversation. I'm excited to have it with you.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Yeah, that's just, I am so here for it. I'm so absolutely here for it. So
Awesome.
let's just go ahead and hop right in. Yes, Lee. So your training company, Red Hawk Firearm Training, you also host a series of YouTube videos that also feature on Facebook, and you call it the Dry Fire Journal. And one thing that keyed me onto that was just the it's not just focus on the sights and concentrate on your trigger press. It's more about focusing on mindfulness. Like you're telling people not just where their eyes should be focused, but where their mind should be focused. And can you just give me a little bit of piece of that? Like, can you talk deeper about that?
Sure. Many years ago, I was a musician for a living, and one of the people that taught me a significant amount of stuff that helped me in my musical path told me that the problem isn't in my guitar, the problem is in me. And if I start with my hands and what my fingers are doing on that guitar or piano or drums or whatever I was doing that day, if I focus too much on the doing, then I'm not concerned with who I am being and I'm not concerned with who I am becoming. And that thought has translated with me into most of the aspects of my life and has translated into me as a firearm user and has translated into me as a firearm instructor. I want to help people figure out who it is that they are being when they are shooting. And I want to help them attach a goal to who they are becoming. And the Dry Fire Journal that you mentioned is a daily YouTube thing. It is an audacious undertaking to produce. Well, first a daily video, but a daily dry fire video, and a daily dry fire video that helps me get better and helps you get better if you're willing to jump into it. But if we just make it about the shooting, we're not going to get as far as fast. If we make it about the shooting and work in what are we mentally processing, what are we experiencing as we are doing this process, who are we trying to be and who are we trying to become, man, now we're getting somewhere. And so that's kind of the genesis of that approach for me.
Wow, who we are being and who we are becoming.
Yeah.
That is deep. So,
Well, think about it this way, Memphis. Who I am becoming is usually predicted by who I'm being right now. And who I'm being, if I continue to be it, that predicts who I'm going to become. So I've got to think as I am even just dry firing, who am I being right now? Am I being the kind of person that is putting in the work necessary in order to improve? Or am I being the person that's only going to do the kind of dry fire that I enjoy and think is fun? Um, am I going to be the kind of person that gets better and works toward a goal, or am I going to be the kind of person that only does one drill that I know that I can do well so that I can feel like I'm doing better than I actually am? And so I have this self-based confirmation bias that says that I am good at this because it's the only I only do this one thing and I do it really well. And I'm just going to pick some topics out of the air. Let's say that my draw to first shot dry is super fast and very accurate, and I've proven it with shot calling, and I've proven it with something like laser. Sorry, wrong shoulder. This is weird. I'm backwards. Laser Academy over my shoulder. But I've determined that in dry fire, and I have reached my goal. And let's say that my goal is a 1.1 second draw to first shot. And I get to that goal, and I'm able to do that over and over and over and over and over again. Now, I think, you know what? I might want to dry fire transitions and hang two targets and have to go left, right, or whatever combination. Here comes the struggle bus to pick you up. You ready for it? The struggle bus is going to pick you up because here's the struggle. Oh, wait. I want to work on this transition thing, but I'm not that great at it. And my internal story about myself is going to not work if I try a new thing that I'm not good at, if my story is I'm only going to dry fire that which I'm already good at. And so what I'm picking at here, Memphis, and you know this because I know you, and by the way, I love you, but I know you, and I know that you know this because we've had this conversation. But for anybody watching this that's wanting to attain a skill, it doesn't matter if it's shooting related or in your career or in your relationships, this is the core of part of our collective big issue as human beings. What I'm describing for you is some of the detail and some of the ugly nitty gritty parts that we don't like to talk about when we describe our comfort zone. I'm talking about the comfort zone of a shooter. This is the warm, cuddly blanket that we don't like to unravel because it gets chilly and it's not as comfortable and cool. And so if I simply got out there and said, both in my classes and in this YouTube video and in other areas where I teach, if I got out there and simply put a recipe of, hey, if you will follow, these 12 easy steps, if you will just do this 2 minutes a day, if you will just put in 10 reps every day or something like that, man, there's a chance I could make some really good money off that. Let's be honest. Because people like following steps because then we can complete them and check them off. I wouldn't do anybody any favors that way, though. I wouldn't be helping anybody. If we don't deal with the head and the heart, then what we're doing with our hands and our eyes is not going to progress the way we want it to. Because how we deal with our head and our heart over time, if that doesn't improve, then our hand, what we do with our hands and what we see with our eyes won't improve very much either.
Folks, I want to give a very special thank you to Top Gun Shooting Range here in Memphis, Tennessee. This is where I teach personally. You can shoot our fully automatic machine guns in a safe and controlled environment. We also have a barbecue restaurant right here in the building. Ferguson's Barbecue has 4.7 stars on Google reviews, and also it's the only public range in the Mid-South that allows you to draw from the holster. And personally, I believe that that's the best way for you to practice for handgun self-defense. Folks, I do not shill for anybody. I promote the causes that I believe in, and I believe in Top Gun Memphis. Come by and see us.